Hi guys, welcome back. It's Jeffrica
And
and
Emrys.
Emrys coming to you for another conversation about life, the things we're experiencing, the things that we're learning, and the in between.
What does your shirt say?
Oh, this is particularly for the podcast. It says, all feelings are okay. And it has like different emoji
Oh,
faces,
I like it.
accepting of all the feelings. How's life been? You,
Life's good.
I see you're planning over there. You're in your planner, planning out the week.
Just, writing down my plans for the week. It's a busy week this week. Also, it's the last of my calendar, so I have to
Oh,
buy a new one.
you're so good at that. I live by my phone calendar.
I do too. I feel like I primarily use my phone calendar. This is where like every single detail is.
Yeah,
But then on Sundays, I like to write out specifically that week. So it's just like quick glance at the full week instead of seeing just the daily stuff and having to swipe through.
that's a great perspective. Can you see the little number that's on my screen, by the way? Like, I need to point that out
Mm-mm.
because it looks like an upload percentage. So I just want to make sure we're good.
Does it say 64 right now?
Yeah, it keeps going back and forth.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
we're good.
So, on today's podcast, we always like to talk about things that are kind of top of mind or things that we're learning and experiencing. And this subject in particular is always at the top of my mind as I interact with people and like deal with people on the daily, personally and professionally. And so, I just want to educate the people and like share some insight because I don't think it's something that maybe everyone is aware of or thinks about when you're engaging and
Yeah.
interacting with people. So, just want to share some wisdom, some insight to how to maybe have better relationships with your friends or family members and how to learn about other people and consider other people and all the things. So, we're going to talk about introverts, extroverts, ambiverts, the in between, what all of that is,
Yeah.
how we can live and coincide in harmony together because we're all very different.
Yes.
Um, and just some tips and things that we've learned about ourselves over the years and how we are how we practice awareness of that in relationship with people. So, Amorous, would you
Yes.
consider? Well, first of all, I think I would like to start here because maybe there are some people that don't even know what these terms are or like aren't aware of
Yeah.
what this even means. What is an introvert, extrovert? What does that mean? And I also think there's a lot of misconceptions when you hear the words too, because prior to me actually studying and actually taking courses on all these things, I had cultural awareness of what it was and not necessarily what it means um, in real life. So, what's your perspective? How would you define the terms introvert, extrovert, ambivert, a new one? What does that look
Okay.
like for you? And then I'll share.
Well, as soon as you said Emrys, I was like, oh gosh. So I'm just gonna read what I read online as you were calling me out. Because I feel like this is a really good place to start. It
Mm-hmm.
says an introvert is a person with qualities of a personality type known as introversion, which means that they feel more comfortable focusing on their inner thoughts and ideas rather than what's happening externally. They enjoy spending time with just one or two people rather than large groups or crowds. When you hear the word introvert, you might think of someone who's shy or quiet and prefers to be alone. While that may be true for some introverts, there's much more to this personality type. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, all depends on how you process the world around you,
Mm.
which I think is a
Mm-hmm.
really good explanation there. Here are some signs you might be an introvert.
I
You
like
ready?
this. Yes, let's go.
Um, Need quiet to concentrate, are reflective, are self aware, take time making decisions, feel comfortable being alone,
Mm-hmm.
don't like group work, prefer to write rather than talk. I
Mm.
actually
Huge.
had not thought about that
Mm-hmm.
one. That's
Huge.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Feel tired after being in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Have few friendships but are very close with these friends.
Mm-hmm.
Daydream or use their imaginations to work out a problem and retreat into their own mind to rest.
Every single one of those. It's me. To the
Wow. Okay, I
core.
need to read the extrovert.
Yeah, yeah,
That's too
it
good.
is. What side are you on, by the
That
way?
was
What are
really
you
good.
reading?
I'm on WebMD.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Viable.
Okay. So, what is an extrovert? The term extroversion describes an aspect of a personality that is often characterized by expressive and outgoing patterns of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
People who are extroverts tend to be very talkative, sociable, active, and warm. Jung defined an extrovert as someone who feels energized by the external world and social interactions. Let's see. Extroverts like working in groups, enjoy trying new things, tend to be described as energetic, prefer talking through problems, make friends easily, and can be impulsive. That's pretty pretty accurate. Here's some common traits associated with extroversion. You feel inspired after spending time with others and gain energy from social interactions. Too much alone time drains your energy and begins to make you feel listless, which means restless. You thrive being the center of attention and are comfortable with unfamiliar situations. Striking up a conversation, even with total strangers, brings you joy. You often speak to explore and organize your thoughts. That sounds disastrous. You often spearhead group outings and other social events. It's rare for you to turn down an invitation to a party or gathering, and adaptability is your strength, and you welcome spontaneous decisions in your life.
Very interesting.
I'm definitely an ambivert. There's no
Yeah.
like I'm such a mix.
Yeah. Is there a definition on that specifically on WebMD?
Let's see. We might fall into this. Let's see. No one WebMD because they're probably like, this is
Not a thing. Yeah.
a real thing.
Yeah.
But let's see. Should I go with like simple psychology or what should I go with?
Sure.
Let's go with that.
Sure.
Okay. An ambivert essentially changes. This is us.
This is us.
An ambivert essentially changes their behavior based on the situation they find themselves in. For example, they might be quite introverted and reserved around strangers, but will be more energetic and extroverted around close friends and family. Outgoing introverts is another word for it. Introverts who can be outgoing in certain situations and around certain people or when they absolutely need to be. Ambiversion is the quality of having both introverted and extroverted personality traits. Unlike introverts who gain energy from solitude or extroverts who feel energized by socializing, ambiverts fall somewhere in the middle. They often enjoy spending time with others but also value their alone time and need some time to recharge after social interactions. While many people tend to assume they are either introverts or extroverts, research suggests that most people are actually ambiverts. I think that's pretty much it. I wish there were some other signs, but... Oh! Here are some characteristics. Being able to adapt to different situations, being good at communication, both listening and speaking, being comfortable with both large groups and small, intimate gatherings, being able to work well both independently and in teams, have a strong sense of self-awareness, provide balance in social situations, and have an ability to regulate behavior and responses.
Okay. Agreed. Before I ever knew that there was a third one, I always knew that I was an introvert. But now, like, that I've been hearing and learning about introverts, I'm like, that's for sure. I think that's for sure me.
Yeah.
I can say I am both trained and fulfilled by interactions depending on who it's with. Like, I can think of, like, our girls' trip to...
Ding, ding, ding.
Our girls' trip to Puerto Rico with my cousins was like 5 days of full-blown interaction and stimulation, and I left completely full, over the top. My cup was running over. Had that been a trip with someone that may have not been so life-giving, it probably would have been a draining situation. So it definitely depends on relationship and closeness and how I can go back and forth. How do you see yourself?
So, I see myself as an introverted extrovert. I have told you this before, and I'll say it again. I have never taken a personality test that I haven't scored extrovert, which is just shocking to me and everyone around me, I think.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense because in social situations, like when I was reading the extrovert stuff, I'm like, I am the person who's making the plans. I
Yeah.
do feel a level of fulfilled after leaving social
Yeah.
interactions. Like last weekend when I went to that
I was
art
about to
gala,
say
I'm like,
that.
I had the freaking best time bouncing around and being social. Does it absolutely take energy for me to do that? Yes. And
Hmm.
I think that's where the line falls back to that introversion piece because it's like a part of it is natural and normal, but a part of it takes so much energy and
Hmm.
effort. And so yeah, introverted extrovert. Like I do feel like I recover most being alone, but there have been times where I've noticed like I think I even told you this where sometimes I think I just need a few days at home and I'll be
Hmm.
fine. And then I spend a few days at home and I'm not any
Yeah.
better than what I was before. And it's like actually what I needed was life giving
Yes.
interactions, not
Yes. And
yeah.
I remember you
So
saying like going to church is one of those life giving interactions. Even though it's stimulation and you're around people and socializing, it gives you life, it fulfills you. That's very
yeah.
true. I think everyone
Yeah.
has unique situations in that. Like today, I feel like if I'm on the go a lot or like traveling and doing different things and always busy, 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 my mind is constantly stimulated. I have to have a day of still where I don't move physically, like literally don't move. I'm resting. I'm to myself. I'm quiet. I'm in my thoughts, and that recharges me. Like I told you today, one day I feel like a new woman. Like I just had a day alone to
Yeah.
myself where I don't have to perform or engage or interact. And it's like filling me up. And I feel so much better. But
Yeah.
it's so necessary to balance all of the stimuli with rest as well.
I think I see that even in your daily interaction. Like
Hmm.
you need a little part of each day too to just be quiet
Yes.
and still and do whatever to be able to get through the rest of the day.
Agreed. Agreed. That's true. And I also think it's so important just to be aware of people and needs and surroundings and all of that because everyone is so different. And so I don't always go into situations or places or relationships and expect you to behave like me. Like, I let you be yourself. I don't try to
Yeah.
change people. Be you, do good. But I will also set my own boundaries and remove myself when I need to have my own space and my own time. And so I think it's important to not like push so many things on people or try to make them change or mold or be like you or always asking the question of why are you so quiet, why you don't talk, why you not doing this, why you don't want to go out, or why do you talk all the time, like why do you have to constantly be busy, why are you uncomfortable with silence and stillness, and like so I
Yeah.
revert the questions. It goes both ways to like self-reflect on ourselves and others. So what would be like some tips or guidance that you would give to others to help them be in relationship better with people that may be opposite of personality styles or introversion, extroversion, all of that? How can we live together in harmony? What are some practical ways to do
Yeah.
that?
I think that the older I get, the more that I realize, the more life you live, the more that you understand like that being in a relationship with people is about serving one another
Mm,
and like I think when you go into a situation knowing not putting yourself first, I think it allows for a lot of room to be able to serve that other person well. So if I, for example, if I have a friend who's a major extrovert and I'm feeling really introverted that day, I'm going to do my best to go into that same room and meet her energy
mm,
because I know that that's what she needs and
yeah,
that's what she's looking
yeah,
for. And so I try to live my life kind of in service to other people and like what I know that they need, knowing that I might not get that same reaction, but that's not why I'm doing
yeah.
it. If I value a relationship, then I want to go in and like just give my best, I guess. So it's just being aware of like your people and what they need, and honestly being a little bit self-aware of like
A lot.
the world doesn't exist to serve you. Like, be aware of your surroundings and be a nice human where you think about other people before yourself,
Yeah.
you
And I
know?
think you do a really good job too of vocalizing where you're at for the day, how you're feeling when you go into a space. Like you'll say, "Hey, this is where I'm at today. I'm not this and this." It doesn't mean anything else. Don't read what I'm not saying because people do that a lot. But you're very good with
Yeah.
proactively voicing where you are for the day.
I am super proactive with
Hmm.
that, mostly because I know that people, not everybody,
Hmm.
but I know that people can pick up and think that maybe it's something that they did, or like they think that maybe or if they're not self-aware, then they just think that you're mad at them and like whatever. And it's like sometimes I just have to say like proactively like, hey, I'm just having like a tough day
Yeah.
today, or like I'm really low energy or whatever, so that they know it's just like me and not anything that you did. So that there's no room for
That's
confusion
wisdom.
or strife or whatever else. What about you? What are some like how do you interact and try and keep harmony?
That's wisdom. I'm still working on that part. Because that is so wise to do that. I feel like sometimes it makes me feel like I have to be on guard and on eggshells all the time if I'm constantly having to explain where I am and how
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling and emotionally and like it's not you, it's me. Like some I don't know. I'm working on that part. But what I do is what you mentioned as far as meeting people where they are, even if it makes me uncomfortable, me stepping outside. I will say yes to invitations and do things with you and all the extroversion things that you want and like give my time and energy. And I will also take days to myself where I will be alone and like balance that out
Yeah.
too. Um, and so I think it's important to be comfortable and being aware of how to read the room and how to read people and how to be able to maneuver in situations based on what's being presented where you are, and learning how how to meet those needs. Oh God, I'm sorry. I just look out the window. This little girl fell off her bike, and she's crying. So
Oh no,
sad.
that is sad.
um, the serving part is so good. It's so good of just always trying to be mindful of other people and where they are and meeting them. So I don't have a lot of tips for that. I'm still learning how to do that. I'm definitely a lot more vocal in saying that I'm having a challenging day or in saying no when I don't have the capacity to be there for someone or to do something. I'm a lot more comfortable in that. So it doesn't place me in situations that I don't want to be in with a bad attitude because long gone are those
Yeah.
days. Man, we spent so many
Yeah.
times, so much energy and time doing and being places we didn't want to be because I felt obligated to say yes to you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings because I was a people pleaser recovering, all of those things.
Yeah.
So those days are long gone,
Yeah.
but there's still so much progress that needs to happen in that regard.
How how do you handle like I it's very interesting whether it's like a movie that you watch or whatever, just watching like dynamics with like spouses or like friends or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But like specifically, I'm thinking of this movie that I watched where um, the husband walks through the door and the wife just immediately is like, "How was your day? What'd you do? Let me tell you about all my stuff." Like, have you ever been in a situation like that? And if so, like, how do you handle that in a way that's like I don't know, because I feel like your go-to is just to meet that person where there is. But how do you teach other people that that's
You're
like
right.
not okay? Especially if the other person's not there. Like, dude,
You're
chill.
so
No, read
right.
the room.
You're so right. And I still do try to meet the need in the moment, but I will also say, and I'm good at doing that. If I feel bombarded with the energy, I will definitely say, "Can I have a minute? Like, can I put my luggage down? Can I go to the restroom? Let me catch my breath, and then we'll come back and finish the conversation." I've had to say those things before, so in the moment, I will like place up a limit there. And I think like bringing that to someone's attention is creating awareness. Like in the moment, if they're doing
It
that and
is.
you're like addressing the behavior in the moment, they're like, oh, maybe I need to be considerate of that next time to like wait for a little while, before engaging in activity. So I think that's a killing two birds with one stone with that scenario. But you're so right. I am so so very much aware of that, and I don't want to be that type of person because I know what that feels like. And so I think a lot of it's just education in the moment. But if you constantly let things happen and you don't address it and don't say anything, you're also
Yeah.
making it okay. And that person thinks it's okay to do that or it's not a problem or whatever it is. And it's not, these are not world changing situations or huge ordeals, but there are small things that you can do that can affect how you engage and relate with people with just being honest and
Yeah.
transparent in the moment of like, hey, give me a second. I'll be happy to tell you every single thing I did on this trip. I just need a moment to like decompress from all the movement, all the airport noise, all the stuff that's in my head, like just everything. Give me a second and I'll come back to
Yeah.
you. But I'm still going to give you what you need. It just ain't going to be at this very second.
Yeah. I think it's also like, obviously, you have to evaluate your relationships because there are going to be relationships in life where you are there to meet
Mm-hmm.
the need that they have. And those people may not necessarily have the same capacity to like to be able to show that
Mm-hmm.
back, reciprocate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other relationships where it's like a mutually beneficial scenario where it's like, you know, we can both meet each other where we are. If you're low energy, I can meet you there. If you know, like I feel like knowing the relationship and knowing what it can provide is really helpful, and then that helps you to know how to kind of attack the situation. Because I feel like with family, sometimes it's just like you're there, honestly, you're there to like meet that need,
Yeah.
you know, like because I think about this all
Give the
the
example. I
time.
just want you
And
to
this
say it
is,
because I'm thinking about
I'm,
one person in particular for
are
you.
you?
Or you're like, I'm
I
just
don't
here
know
for
who
a
it
few hours. Let
is.
me go ahead and engage in this. And like, I can read this book later. Like, let me just give you what you need.
I don't know who it is or what you're gonna say, so you'll have to
Yeah,
tell it for
yeah.
me. But I just think like sometimes I'm like, it's interesting the relationships that are like formed for you or formed in different seasons of life or whatever. Because it's like me today, I don't know that we would actually be in relationship with one another. You know, like it's very interesting to me to see like even like honestly like kind of family members. You're like in any world, like I don't know that we would if we weren't family, like we probably wouldn't have a relationship. Like that's always so weird to me, you know? Honestly, I'm
Wow.
like kind of scared saying that, but like, is that not
That is a
true?
very good point that I've never thought about. If we didn't share the same blood, we probably would never talk to each other. Because, no.
No. But I feel like in those situations, it's super important to me that I meet them where they are.
Mm, mm.
Um, so if you're high energy and you need a lot, like, I am thinking about one person right now who, like, high energy needs a lot, always fills every single second of every moment with
Mm-hmm.
conversation, and, like, it's exhausting, but this is probably, we're talking about the
Yes.
same thing, I think,
Yes.
probably. When I'm there, it's like, let me go ahead and just let me fulfill that need for you, you know? And like, sure, let's talk every second of the 6 hours that I'm here, and I will recover in my car. Oh my
Silence
God,
and silence.
silence. Um, so like I really do feel like it's evaluating
Yeah.
that, but like for example, in like true close friendship of whatever, like I feel like we are so good about balancing that.
Mm.
Even like when we're either on vacation together or you're staying here or whatever, like knowing and matching energy of like, what are you feeling today? Are you feeling like you want to go out and do something? Are you feeling like you need silence? And the fact that we have the space to be like, I just need a
Mm-hmm.
day of
And it's
silence to
okay.
not
And
do
there's no
anything
guilt
and like,
tripping. And there's no, well, we didn't.
yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. I was about to go to this very next point of just simply asking. We walk into every conversation
Mm-hmm.
commenting and speaking and talking and talking. Ask. Ask. Do you have the capacity to handle the garbage I'm about to dump
Mm-hmm.
on you about my whole personal life? Can you even carry that
Mm-hmm.
right now? Or does your mind have 35 other tabs that are open that you're constantly thinking about? Like, ask the questions. Is now a good time to talk to you about
Mm-hmm.
this? Do you have the energy? Like, you will get so much more from asking, and that allows the person to be honest and say, honestly, not right now, not today, like, can we do this another time? Because
Yeah.
you have no idea what the person has encountered throughout the day, what happened on the job.
Especially because you probably haven't
You
asked.
haven't asked because it's all about you. Like, you have no idea the
Yes.
stresses of the day that could be on this person's mind, and you want to come in and then drop a ton of everything else and your problems onto them without asking, where are you at? Because if I'm not in the
Mm-hmm.
place where I can take on everything you're giving, I'm not going to have any great feedback to give you. I'm just going to be silent and listen because
Yeah.
I can't even give anything in this moment. So it's not beneficial for
Yeah.
you or me if you don't, ask where I'm at, or if this is a good time for either of us. That's a big
Yeah.
one. Ask
It's a really
questions. You
good
will learn
point.
so much more and it'll be so much more beneficial.
I think, I mean, that is like so simple, such a simple, practical way of like loving the other person. And I don't think that we think about that very often in relationships, especially when it's like a common relationship.
Yeah.
Someone that you see all the time and do, interact with on a daily basis or weekly basis. Like, I feel like we get really comfortable in our relationships and we don't really care enough to
Yeah.
ask or even think
Yeah.
about it truly, and I just am in a space where I'm like, how do I love someone well, and loving someone well often looks like sacrifice, and it looks like me not getting my way, and it looks like, what I mean, and like, I just think that we have to be aware of that, of if you're always expecting someone to meet you where you are, take a good look at that relationship, because you probably feel one way about the relationship and the other person feels totally different. They probably think that you drain everything from them, that you're a taker, not a giver. Like, I just think that you have to really start examining how you approach relationships and what that looks like, and honestly how they're feeling. It might be time for some conversations.
Well, it's a very good. There's nothing else to be said on that. No, that all of that is so very good. Yes, everything. I don't have anything else to add. That pretty much summed it up. There was something else I was thinking, but I was like, you summarized it all. Like that. That's it. Crap, I can't even remember now. But yeah, it all goes back to what you said earlier about the selfishness. That whole piece of only seeing yourself in every situation. It doesn't allow you to learn or to know the other person if it's all about you all the time. So one step out of selfishness will enlighten the whole room.
It also doesn't allow you to be loved in the capacity that you could be, because you think that you
Thank
need
you.
to be in control
That's what
of
it
how
was.
you
Go.
do that. Go ahead, say it right now.
Back to what you said about the reason that you voice and proactively stay where you are, because when everything is all about self, everyone constantly thinks, oh, you're mad at me because you're not talking to me, or oh, it must be me. This is why you're doing this. When in reality, there's so much things emotionally and mentally that I think about and deal with on the daily. Maybe it's a day that I'm grieving or I'm sad or I had a trigger or a thought. I could not be thinking about you. Like, it has nothing to do with you, but everything is internalized of it has to be me, or that's not always the case, but asking.
Yeah.
And you do an excellent job of that. And when you do that to me, I intentionally try to do that to other people and ask other people when you say, or you send a text message of like, hey, are you able to do this? Do you have the capacity to hear this? Where are you at today? Like, you care about how the day was, because sometimes it can be very stressful. And like I said, it could be 1,000 things on my mind, and you actually ask before giving or whatever.
Or if I call and I hear and you answer and I hear your voice,
You
and I'm
know
like,
me.
Okay, this is not.
Even if I try to,
this is not the time to have this
conversation. You know me. You know the sound. Like, you intimately know me to be aware enough to like not even override that of like, oh, but I still want to tell you this. And I appreciate that.
I'm like, all right, well, you should have a good night and maybe eat something and watch some TV and then go to sleep. We'll talk tomorrow, maybe, if you're up for it.
How I wish to be known like that from everyone. You're so good at that.
Yeah. The thing is, the signs are always there. It's just that whole thing of being immersed in self and not having enough self-awareness to think about other people. Like, because the signs are all, if someone answers the phone, usually, hey, and then they answer the, hey, like, you should know, like, that should be
do not
very low-hanging
do not
fruit,
proceed guys. Just because you want to do things, do not proceed. Ask questions.
I also think, just as a general rule, when someone walks into a home, greeting them is great. I just take a beat, like, no matter what, just take a beat. Maybe analyze their face, how they said hello back to you, and then maybe ask a question of if they can have the capacity, like you said, to receive, like, how your day was, or maybe start by asking them how their day was. Maybe live a life in service of other people, and that, like, it just makes if someone is so curious about how my day was and what I did, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, well tell me about yours. Like I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
so reciprocated, but the people who try to hold on so tightly and control a situation and like, I need to tell you this because no one else is going to ask me about it. Well, no freaking wonder, because you're not sowing that
Mm,
seed to even be
mm.
received back. Like,
That's a
so
very good
anyway,
point. That's
service
a
to one
very good
another.
point. And I made up this in my mind a long time ago. Like, when I am married and with the husband, I will not be the one to bombard him when he comes in the door. Like, it's so important to me to
Mm-hmm.
create a home and a space of peace and harmony. And I know that's one of the things of like, if someone's just walking in from the weight of the world, they don't need all the extra weight from you in that moment. That is not the time. And
Yeah,
so we'll not do that.
it's not a safe
Yes.
space.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah,
Well, anything else, friend?
I think we said it all. How
All
fun.
good. All right, guys. Until next time, go and live in peace.
And harmony. Love people well this week.
Yay.
See you
Bye.
guys next time. Bye.